Welcome to the show the podcast community is calling Access Involvement. I'm Amy Shugart.
And I'm Dana Gramulia.
And each episode, our host, Billy Ferris, usually talks with a different staff member of student involvement. Well, today the tables have turned and Billy is in the hot seat. So everyone, please welcome our guest, Billy Ferris, coordinator of student media. Welcome, Billy.
This feels weird.
I know, right?
I don't know where to look.
Right here.
There are no
the whole time. There's no rules.
Lock it in.
There's no rules to where to look.
Well, we are excited to be here. Dana and I have been very nervous about this podcast all week.
Why are we nervous?
Because we've never hosted a podcast.
It's intimidating to be on the other side of the mic.
Well, you had never been on a podcast before either.
Exactly.
So, and look how easy that was.
It was not. I got 2 out of 10 right in trivia questions.
Well, I have a feeling revenge is like winter is coming.
Winter is coming, and I know winter well being from Ohio.
Yes, you do.
Yep.
Well, let's go ahead and get this show on.
All right.
So it's time for pop quiz. I'm going to ask you 7 questions so the viewers can get to know you a little bit better, even though I feel like they kind of know you because you do answer some of the questions.
I do.
Typically.
I do.
But now you have 7 just for you.
Okay.
Are you
Will
ready?
you be answering them too?
If it calls to me, yes.
Okay.
So 50-50 chance.
Okay.
Yep, there's always a possibility.
Okay.
All right, question number 1. If you could live anywhere, where would it be?
I'm going to say Pluto because did you hear about Pluto? It's messed up.
I heard it doesn't
It
exist.
is no longer a planet
I was
anymore.
like, is it a planet?
It's no longer a planet anymore. And I feel like if someone lived there, they would have to give it planet status back.
So they removed it from the group text, but you still want
And I'm going to bring
visit
it back.
Okay.
And I feel like, yes, it's far away, but it'll be quiet. And if people care, they'll come see me.
I mean,
That's
how
the
many
ultimate test of friendship right
How many
there.
light years is that?
A lot.
A lot.
Are you saying I'm overestimating my value to people?
Never. That is not.
No.
Would you come to Pluto and visit me if I lived there?
If you paid for the trip.
Wow.
I just feel like that'd be
Yeah.
very expensive.
It would.
No, there are no rules in pop quiz. It
That's
doesn't have
true.
to cost anything.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
We'll come visit.
It's free.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay.
75%.
Oh, I'll
Wow.
come visit you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Real friends.
Looks like you're a better host than me.
Well, I'm technically not the host, so that works out.
We are
in my advantage.
co-hosting the episode, Dana. Very excited. All right, question number 2. We know you obviously host an award-winning podcast.
Is it an award-winning
It
podcast?
is.
In the future, yes.
But if you hosted a late-night talk show, what would the name of that talk show be?
I think I would call it Real Deal Ferris Wheel, and I would host it from a Ferris wheel, and I would do the interview riding around the Ferris wheel with my guest. That would be the hook,
I love that. It's like carpool karaoke,
Yes.
but on a
But
Ferris
better.
wheel.
but on a Ferris wheel.
Would
Yeah.
you travel to different carnivals and do different Ferris wheels, or would you have your own branded Ferris wheel?
I could bring my own branded Ferris wheel to different cities
I like that one.
Ah, yes.
That one's better.
and put a local spin on every episode.
A literal spin.
Oh, that's how you do that.
Amazing. Can we be your first guest?
No, I covered that last week. My first guest on a talk show that I hosted would be Tom Brady,
Oh,
and he would take the whole episode,
well, yeah.
and then we would become best friends.
You know, there's dreams and then there's
Reality.
far-fetched concepts.
I mean, sure.
I believe in you. It'll work.
You could come watch. You could ride on the Ferris wheel like in a
Okay.
different seat and just kind of listen.
Can I
Okay.
still be the producer?
Yeah.
Excellent.
As long
Yeah.
as you promise we won't get stuck, I'll be there.
Well, you have to stop at the top for the best interview questions.
Oh, okay.
I just feel like you
That's
stop at the
fair.
bottom and for different segments and you bring on food and talk
Yeah.
about wherever city you're in and
See, the bonus of this is if you ask a question the guest doesn't like, they can't just walk off.
True. They are stuck
They're
with you.
stuck with me.
Oh.
Yeah. So I could get real.
so many things.
That's why we call
So
it
many-
Real Deal Ferris Wheel. Ask the real questions on that show.
There it is. Love it.
So many puns wrapped in one thing.
All right,
Love it.
question number 3. What was the last movie you watched?
I like to try to learn when I watch movies.
Really?
So I wanted to learn more about American history, so I watched National Treasure. And why are you laughing?
Keep nothing at all.
So I wanted to learn about the Declaration of Independence and
How to
the
steal it?
treasure that was hidden. No, I'm not going to steal it.
Okay.
We're recording.
It's just,
And And I wanted to learn about the treasure map, and that'd be cool to find. So yeah, National Treasure was the last movie I watched.
All right.
Side note, National Treasure 2 hints at a third movie, and then they never make the third movie.
There's a second one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to watch it to learn all about Mount Rushmore and what's hidden below it. Or may not be hidden below it, because spoilers. But they say, like, did you check out page 43 of that book? And then they never tell you what's on that page. It's clearly going to be the third movie, and then they never make the third movie.
That's so rude.
And I need to learn more about history.
I need you to start a petition. I will sign it.
Yeah. GoFundMe?
Yeah.
To, like, get some producing
That's
dollars
so
in
much
there?
effort, though, you know?
Okay, well, you know.
Well, Disney, if you're listening.
Now that we've put this out on what I'm guessing is going to be a heavily watched episode.
Oh, 100%.
Thousands of
Maybe
views.
the least viewed episode, probably.
I take that personally.
Now
but
that we've put this out there, well, I'm the subject. That
well,
was self-deprecating, not outwardly deprecating.
we're all in this
Is that a
together.
term?
Name that movie.
High School Musical. Question number
yeah.
4. What was the last time you did something for the first time?
I would say like last Tuesday.
Okay. What'd you do?
Oh, did you want me to say what I did? Oh, okay.
If
You said when was the
feel-
last time?
If you
Feel
feel
free. If you
Oh,
feel
okay.
called, yes.
No,
But please share.
I'm not a talker, so
Okay.
no. The last. This is not a great answer, but it's the truth.
Okay.
And I'm a creature of habit, so there's not a lot that I have never done before because I get into a habit and I just keep doing whatever that habit is. But my lawnmower broke last weekend, and I bought. I know, it was very sad. And I bought a battery-powered electric mower, so I mowed the lawn with an electric mower instead of a gas-powered mower. Like I said, this is not an entertaining answer, but it's the truth. And
It's
I'm,
fascinating.
again, real deal. Ferris wheel is what we're doing here. And
Well,
I'm going to try to make that a thing, and it's going to annoy everybody.
womp womp.
And it felt like I was vacuuming the grass because it doesn't sound like a lawnmower. So it was weird. It's going to take some getting used to.
So how does one full charge get you through one full mow?
Well, I have palatial estates there at my house. No, I purposely bought a house that I knew I could mow the lawn in 30 minutes or less. So yeah,
Smart.
no trouble. No trouble to get through.
I love this journey for you.
It's a journey.
Question number 5. If you could only use one GIF or meme for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
First of all, outstanding to ask a visual-based question on something people are listening to.
You're welcome.
Thank you. That's my question idea.
That's why she's the co-host.
It's I'm gonna bring it up. And I'll show the camera.
We are a visual podcast.
We are a visual.
We are.
podcast.
There is a
You
camera.
are correct. So it's a GIF of Michael Scott. I'm gonna bring it up
Should have known.
because it needs no words, and I feel like I can say anything else with words if I can only use one for the rest of my life. And this is just Michael Scott looking kind of dead inside, and sometimes I feel like I don't know if that's gonna show up or not. I think it shows up okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that I feel like there's no way to say that with words.
No, but it's so versatile at the same time.
So that
it
is
speaks to me.
if I could only use one GIF or meme, it would be that one because anything else I can say with the words.
True. I would do the one of like I think it's a dog sitting at the table and everything's burning around it. It's like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine.
That's
I
a good
use
one.
it on the reg.
Is it about me?
Yes.
Oh.
Oh. Well,
Never
I learned
painful.
something new today, so I have nothing else to add to this.
Excellent.
Next question.
Moving on to question number 6.
Okay.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, that's such a hard question because it depends on the audience. It depends on who you're with. It depends on the crowd. So I have a variety of
Okay.
karaoke songs. So if it is more of a country crowd,
Okay.
you can't go wrong with Friends in Low Places.
Excellent choice.
No one doesn't sing along with that.
That's true. Just-
Everyone's heard it. It's a fun one. It goes on for a while. So it's an early in the night kind of a song. And you have to beat people to it because that always gets picked.
It always gets picked.
But then sometimes you get up with a group and maybe you just want to do Bye Bye Bye.
Hand
That's a fun
motions,
one.
too?
Hand motions,
Okay, great.
everything. That's a fun one.
I'm here for that.
And then sometimes like any 80s like power ballad or rock song is always fun too. Like Wanted Dead or Alive or Living on a Prayer.
Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston. Yeah, I want to dance with somebody,
mean,
know.
Yeah.
Why
Classics.
why not?
I don't sing karaoke. You could not.
I will literally sing any karaoke song and be
Same.
okay with it.
You
I have
cannot get me on a stage.
Here's the thing. I actually have some hard and fast rules for karaoke.
Okay, let's hear them.
And I feel pretty strongly about it. Number 1, the worse you are at singing, the better you are at karaoke.
Agreed.
Well,
No
I
one-
am gonna
Because
win a
I'm bad at
Grammy.
it.
Yep.
Yes.
So that's why I'm a terrible singer unless I turn the radio up real loud. Then I sound a lot better somehow. But if you're a bad singer, it's great because no one wants to follow a good singer. No one wants to show off at karaoke.
Yeah, that's not the point of karaoke.
Right. So, but like what, and then you
There's
have to.
American Idol for that.
Right. What you, timely reference, what you make up for, you lack in talent, you make up for in enthusiasm. It's about putting on a show. And then you have to pick a song that most people are going to know because you hope they'll sing along with you. And you have to pick a song that does not have a long instrumental break in the middle, or you're going to stand there not knowing what to do unless you are a talented air guitar player or an air drummer.
Are you?
No, that's not in my skill set.
Oh, okay. So we need to find a backup air drummer / guitar player for Billy the next time karaoke occurs.
So those are my rules for karaoke.
Publish them.
You don't. So you don't have.
I don't have one because I don't karaoke.
We're gonna have to fix this.
I love to watch it. Love to watch it. I think it goes in my like people watching love.
Is it you feel embarrassed?
Yes.
Oh no, we'll go karaoke something because trust me, I'll go over the top and it won't. I'll be more embarrassing.
He'll set the bar so high for embarrassment.
Yeah, I need to be like
I always do.
Almost towards the end of the night where everybody is probably not going to remember it.
No,
or that they've left.
There is one additional rule: is people need to keep their phones away.
Yes.
There should be no recording of karaoke. That's dirty.
That's just rude.
Yeah.
Just not okay.
It's what happens at the karaoke place stays at karaoke.
Yeah,
it's considerate like
also
Vegas.
put that in the rule book.
Yeah.
Can you trademark this?
I have tweeted it, so I think I tweeted my karaoke rules, so I feel like that counts as being published.
I would say yes.
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 What's the the new like digital art medium where you can like create a one-time thing off of something where you can charge for it? Do you know what I'm talking about? No, I'm getting a lot of blank stares.
The internet?
The first thing that pops in my mind, which I don't think is like Fiverr.
Nope.
I'll Google later when I don't have to be speaking, and I'll chime in.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks. Quality content I'm providing here. You're
Last but not least,
okay.
Question number 7: if you were a candy bar, what would you be and why?
It's a hard one. Not big on candy bars.
Well, today you need to be.
Okay, I'm gonna go with $100,000.
Okay.
Ooh.
Because as famed American poet Catherine Perry once said, "Baby, you're a firework. Come on, show 'em what you're worth." So that's my answer.
So you're worth $100,000?
In my mind. Do you think that's too low?
No.
Oh.
I was just clarifying.
Oh.
Just making sure I was making the creative connection there.
Too high?
No.
Oh, good.
You know, you gotta like say it with gusto. Really believe in your worth.
Well, I don't want to be arrogant.
No?
Anytime I hear this question, I can't not think of an answer I've already heard because I just think it's so good.
Yes.
And the great part is they came up with it like off the cuff. So they said they would be a Snickers because they are, oh my goodness, I'm going to, sweet like chocolate, smooth like caramel, but a little nutty like the nuts. I was just like,
so eloquent.
I can't not use that as my answer.
I feel like that wouldn't be a truthful answer for me.
For me, no.
No.
But for this person in particular, yes.
I could be like a Toblerone because they're kind of awkward. I mean,
that would be me. Can I take that?
You can take that answer if you want.
Also, most candy bars have nuts in them, and I just feel like that would just be like off-brand if I were to say that.
Well, if you consider yourself to be a funny person, you could be like, it has nuts in it. I kill. Like,
I don't think I'm funny, but sure. Hence the Toblerones.
Because it's awkward.
So with that, it is time for Let's Get Personal.
Yes.
So we're going to give the viewers a chance to get to learn a little bit more about you and how you ended up in your current role.
Okay.
All right. Oh, shoot.
That's
it's my turn to talk now.
It is.
I was really hoping she would forget and just keep rolling because she's doing
It says
such
Dana
a great
asks,
job.
Billy answers with commentary from Amy. I'm Amy. Commentary is from me.
Yes, that is true.
Thank God you explained that.
I was really hoping she would just to buy myself some time because I'm all about stalling. So, all right, Billy, are you ready?
Yes.
Perfect. Question 1.
This is very strange for me, though, if I can just say that. I'm much more used to doing the interviewing. I'm not a talker. I don't like talking.
That's a lie.
What about journalistic integrity?
People are listening.
I'm sorry.
We hope.
We hope.
Okay, so let's start with the start. Where are you from, Billy?
I appreciate your using my catchphrases, by the way.
Of course, we got to stay on brand because you
Where
work
am I
so hard.
from? I was born in Boston, and I lived there till I was 8, and then we moved down to Atlanta.
What part of Atlanta?
Atlanta, Gwinnett County, Snellville, Georgia. Motto, where everybody's somebody.
Really?
Is that really it?
That's really a motto.
I like that.
I like that too. Is it like even on like a sign?
Oh
when
yeah,
you
it's on a
drive
sign
in?
when you drive into town, where everybody's somebody. It also makes it sound like a very small town.
It does.
And
Is
it's
it not?
really not a small town. There's 3 or 4 different high schools with 3,000 or 4,000 people. So and that was when I was there. It's even bigger than that
How
now.
big was your graduating class?
About, it's more of a question and commentary, but
requires a comment.
about 850, 890, somewhere in there. Graduation was a game of seen that person before, never seen that person before.
Me too. So I'm from Atlanta, the Atlanta area,
Yeah.
but northeast Atlanta. I grew up in Forsyth County, and so when I was in school, there was only 3 high schools: North, Central, and South.
Only 3 high schools, she says.
There's now like 7.
Yeah.
But it was that game of I have
Yeah.
seen you, I have never seen you, and
And then the side game of I've seen you, never knew that was your name.
that too.
Oh,
Yeah.
Because we had about 750, and with my maiden name starting with a Y, I was 7 from the end.
Oof.
that's rough.
Yeah.
It was a long graduation.
And with marrying an S, you didn't really move that much
Really
further.
move up that
You're
far?
working your way up the alphabet.
Sorry, Justin.
Oof. Wow. This is interesting. Like, small town. That's all I'm gonna say. All right. Question number 2. Are you ready? Still feeling good? Feeling confident? Well, we kind of already went into this, but feel free to dive further. Feel free to expand. What was it like growing up there?
Well, I had a graduating class of 850.
You don't say.
It was different. So kind of splitting it into 2. Boston, we were suburbs of Boston and suburbs of Atlanta. But they were very different because the lifestyle in Boston and Atlanta are very different. So I only remember Boston from a little kid's perspective.
That's cool though.
So I just remember neighborhood with kids, and we could walk to this like country store that had penny candy and these really good pickles in a wooden barrel. They were the best.
Wait, did you like have to fish it out of the wooden barrel?
There were tongs.
Okay,
That's
okay.
good.
That's
There were
good.
tongs.
I was concerned.
I mean, was it sanitary? Probably not.
Yeah, you know. But
Did I ever get sick from it? Not to my knowledge. So that was fun. So like we walk there, and you could walk a lot of places. So that was cool. And then we moved down to Atlanta, and it was just entirely different. It's like, why is everyone saying hello when you pass them? why is everyone so friendly? What did I do? So that was different. But I mean, still, you get into a neighborhood with kids your age, and Boston, Atlanta doesn't really matter. You just start, hanging out with whoever's around you.
It's funny you say that when you moved to Atlanta that people like said hi to you, because I always refer to Atlanta where you can get away with going anywhere and no one's saying hi to you because it's such a big city. Because like here you run into somebody
Everywhere.
and like it is you say hi, you stop, you have a conversation. In Atlanta you can get by even if you see them. It's a likelihood that you can dip and hide.
But it's the difference. But I'm not even talking about people I'm talking about. I mean, when I was 8 years old, I didn't do a lot of grocery shopping. But when you go to the grocery store, the cashier would
Be friendly
and talk to you and ask you how you're doing, and you're thinking,
I don't know you.
what do I not know? And so that's different because at Boston they're just trying to get you out.
It's the quick pace.
It's a quick pace, and you are
You're in the way.
you are in the way. If you are there, you are in the way.
I know I'm not asking questions because it's solely commentary, but I do have another question. So
There are no rules, so let's get personal.
Well,
true. So when you moved down here, I want to know this because I've had a conversation about this with some other people. What did you call adults? So like down here, people are typically like first names. So it'd be like Mr. Joe or Miss Dana. But like up there, like you would probably refer to them with their last names.
So up there, we just referred to adults by their first name without the Mr. or Miss or
Oh,
Mrs.
really?
So like our friends' parents were Karen and Frank, or and that's just how it was. So when we moved down here, all of a sudden, like you were rude until you learned how it was. Like you didn't
You're
use
that child.
You did not use sir or ma'am. Like that wasn't in our vocabulary in Boston.
wow.
You just used the first names of the parents. And that was common. It wasn't rude. It was just the way people were.
Yeah.
So the first season I played baseball, the coach said, hey, can you do something? And I said, I don't remember his name. I was like, sure, Rick. And like, he yelled. I mean, it was bad. And I was like, oh, he's like, that's yes, sir. I was like, it's his deal. But 8-year-old me didn't say, what's your deal? But I remember thinking that and thinking, this is different. And it felt much more formal when we came down here because it was, and we didn't use Mr. or Miss first name. We used last name.
Yeah.
Although maybe that was just me overcorrecting. I don't know. But it was always, even to this day, we have friends that, like the first friend I made in Atlanta was 8 years old. And to this day, if I still see their parents, it would still be Mr. and Mrs. McCormick. It wouldn't be Jane and Randy, even though I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
Even though they would probably be like, why are you calling me that? But I still can't use their first names.
As an adult, it took me a long time to transition to first names with my parents' friends. We didn't use first names at all. It was Mr. and Mrs. Putnam, Mr. and Mrs. Bronner.
Yeah.
That's what you used. So transitioning to their first names was very weird. My husband can still not call my parents by their first names without the Mr. and Mrs. So now that we have a son, he just refers to them as with their grandparent names.
So now he just does that.
That's what he does. Because,
Yep.
I mean, we've been married 7 years, and he would call my dad Mr. Joe, and my dad would be like, it's just Joe. And he goes, okay, Mr. Joe. He can't break it.
I have the same problem here. Going to school here, I now
that'd be
know
tough.
people who were my professors that I taught here for a little while, so they became colleagues, and I still can't call them by their first names. And they will tell me to call them by their first names, but no, I don't think I will.
That transition would be so weird.
You just can't do it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. This is interesting because I'm from the northeast part of Ohio, but a small town. So I feel like we had a fusion of the two, right? And so we didn't, at least to my knowledge, we didn't really use yes sir, yes ma'am that much unless your parents specifically told you to, but you would still address them by their last names, like Mr. whatever or Mrs. whatever.
Yeah.
See, that's one thing I kind of like about the North where I was from. I'm not a formal person, as you both know. So I'm just call people whatever you want to call them. It's fine.
Yeah.
But when I teach classes here, I'm just call me Billy. I don't it just feels so weird for you to say
Billy.
Mr. Ferris. That's weird.
That's my dad.
Yeah. And even then.
Awesome. Well, next question for you is, did you always want to go into higher education?
I did not. So I very confidently, when I graduated, said, I'll never be in a classroom ever again. I wanted from before I can remember, wanted to go into TV broadcasting. So that was in high school. My extracurricular stuff was broadcasting based. Went to college for that, went into that, and was planning on never looking back, and then realized the lifestyle was awful. The pay was awful. And so I did it long enough to prove to myself that I could do it, but very quickly realized my favorite part of the job was teaching interns how to do things, and thought that probably, you can do that without the 80-hour work weeks and the holidays and the nights and the weekends. Sometimes, but definitely the holidays.
The 5 a.m.
Definitely the
wake-up
holidays.
calls.
The 5 a.m. wake-up calls, or, to get more serious about it, without having to go knock on someone's door and ask them to interview them when their kid had just died. Because that's news.
Yeah.
That's tough to do. And so I knew I needed to go into sports because I just did not have that in me. But, when you look at sports news, isn't that different than that sometimes?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to get personal sometimes.
So that is something I knew I would not be happy doing.
Yeah.
So I did it long enough to prove to myself that I could, so I wouldn't be like, what if I had tried? But once I was 6 months into doing that, I knew I wanted to go the education route.
Wow.
I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't know if that looked like being an advisor, being a teacher, being a professor. I just knew in some way, get into that education.
And you started teaching first, correct? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I taught for 4 years in communication and journalism at Auburn, and liked it, but without a PhD, there was always a time limit on it. And that was when you take the job knowing that, no matter what, you will not be here more than 5 years. So I knew after 4, when there was a job opportunity, it's well, let's not risk. Because if there isn't one after 5 years, I don't know what I'm doing. So.
Now, is that everywhere? So, it's 5 years just in total, or 5 years at each university?
It's like that here.
Okay.
I think it depends. I think at most R1 research-based institutions, it's going to be similar to that. I think there are small liberal arts schools where you could probably, with professional experience plus a master's, probably be on a tenure track.
Gotcha.
But at most R1 schools, the size of Auburn, I think that PhD and the research component is a really important thing. And I knew I would not be happy doing a research-based job. Not that I dislike the concept of research. I just dislike the concept of me doing the research. And
Well,
I like
other people.
what I like about it is being with the students and making those connections and seeing them grow. And I knew if I get further into a research track, you do less of that. So I knew that would not be what I wanted.
That makes sense because it literally pulls you back further and further because you have to dive into your research.
Yep.
Which ironically then hopefully impacts the students that are then someone else is teaching. But,
Right.
That's my commentary. You're welcome.
We're
All right.
doing
I
great.
enjoy that you keep evaluating yourselves.
We're doing great.
Hey,
How,
I was
Coming for
am I
that
doing?
job of yours, Billy.
hey,
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Just making
I was
that
gonna
clear.
say I could not write pop quiz questions if I didn't need to. That's fine. Someone else
I
can write
mean,
those.
we had fun,
We did have fun.
but not on the mic. Okay, so question number 4: where did you go to college?
Where did I go to college? I went to Auburn University. And I went here because
Yes.
of the student media opportunities.
Weren't you late to class because
On my very first day.
yeah.
Ooh, let's
Yeah.
hear the story, please.
So my very first day of class, I was a mess. I was the student that had the map out and was walking with the map to the buildings because I thought I was going to get lost.
That was me in Haley Center.
Haley
Still
Center.
me in Haley Center.
So I have Haley Center down. And my Auburn hot take is Haley Center is not hard to navigate.
I would agree with that.
But everyone seems
I
to
would
think it is.
disagree.
I think once you know the number layout, but
Well,
no, I had my map out, and my roommate and I and our suite mates, we walked our schedules the day before the first day of class because that's just
Everyone does that.
Yeah.
okay.
no,
okay.
I
I
did
didn't know
that.
if everyone
Yeah.
did that. We did that,
I did that.
and
I did that.
and
So
then
everybody did it.
the morning. Yeah, that's
Everyone in this room.
That's logic. No.
When I teach public speaking, we have a fallacies of reasoning chapter, and that. But
I also took that class, but we're just gonna
I somehow
also took
graduated
that class.
college without taking public speaking.
you can come down for lessons each Friday, and I'll teach you the class.
let's do it. Sorry, your story.
But
I feel like Auburn's gonna pull my degree now.
Auburn, if
I
you're
mean,
listening.
I'll put in a word. Oh, they're listening. But so my first class on the first day, the building and room number changed overnight. And it was a building that I did not know where it was.
Uh-oh.
I can't tell you what building it is. I just know that it was between the quad and the concourse is between the quad and what building I was going to, because that's where I got distracted.
Okay.
So I had my map out. I was like Joey on Friends. I went into the map in London, and I'm just walking with the map out. People are probably like dodging me because I'm not paying attention to my surroundings. I'm just in the map, and I see a camera on a tripod set up, and I was like, "Oh, let's find out about that." 20 minutes later, I'm like, "Oh, class started 5 minutes ago." Put the map away, took off running, and found my way no problem. So it turns out I didn't need the map.
Did you ask somebody where it was?
No,
Just intuition.
intuition. And I think my roommate had a class in that building, so I had been to that building.
Gotcha.
The map was more about a lack of self-confidence as a freshman on my first day than it was a necessity.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
But also it was a way of, no one will talk to me if I have this map out.
The cell phone now.
We
Yeah.
still stopped at a table
Yeah.
to talk to.
Well, because
other
I
people.
wanted to talk to those
Gotcha.
people.
On
But
the
no, I
camera.
looked.
Choose your own adventure.
I was fortunate enough to have a great broadcasting program in high school. So I came to college already knowing all the basics and having a pretty advanced knowledge base based on the curriculum from my high school. That made it difficult to find a college that wasn't going to either make me stall or take a step back.
Gotcha.
So most of the schools I looked at in Georgia, it was you're going to have to wait till you're a junior, or they just didn't have what my high school had. At Auburn, it was your classes won't start until you get into your major, but you can get involved right away in student media. So I knew, okay, as long as I can get involved, I can keep pushing myself and developing myself until I get to the classes. So that's ultimately why I chose Auburn.
Very cool.
Very cool. So the table you stopped at, was it Eagle Eye?
It was.
Nice.
It was.
Very cool. The rest
Yep.
is history.
One of my best friends to this day was the one at the table. Steven Nesledge. He's not watching this.
This is so sweet.
But he was a station manager.
I'm
He
going
was
to
a station
find
manager
his
before me.
email, and I'm going to
Send him the link.
And said, Billy said you won't watch this, but we'll just
Prove
wait.
him
You
wrong.
won't watch this.
But no, he was a station manager for 3 years. It
Wow.
was crazy. I did not know he was a sophomore at the time.
Oh, wow.
Because I thought, he's in charge. He's probably a senior.
Yeah.
And, and it's in my freshman mind, someone wearing khaki pants and a polo tucked in, like they must be almost an adult.
Professional.
And it turns out he was a sophomore, but he was just in charge because Eagle Eye we'll just say it's grown a lot since those days.
I do love the fact that the polo and khakis is still very much
The Auburn uniform.
a staple and making you look important.
Yes.
Yes.
Add a clipboard and you're just,
You can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add that name tag, you
Ooh.
run the place.
Yes.
True.
All right. Well, should have turned the page before.
See, it's these hosting things you don't think about.
Ooh. I now regret. I'm like, Amy, should we staple this? And she's like, nah. I should have stapled mine.
Oh, I don't like the staple. I just like to turn and go.
Well, we all have
Different styles.
different styles. So you already talked to us about Eagle Eye, but were you involved in any other organizations during undergrad?
Yeah, I had a talk show on Weagle. It was called The Locker Room Towel, and it was about sports. And it was me and one other person. We just talked about sports. It was Locker Room Towel. We get the dirt. We had no dirt. We didn't get any dirt. We didn't have any scoops.
I like the tagline, though.
I do.
Thank you.
It's catchy.
That was the goal. It didn't really fit the show. We just talked about our opinions. We had no scoop. We had no dirt. But we had people call in every now and then, so that was fun.
That's cool.
And then, we would talk about whatever was happening in Auburn and then national sports. And then at Eagle Eye, I did everything sports, news, entertainment, kind of a little bit of everything.
Did you do some dancing?
I did, and I feel like you're asking a targeted question.
No, just we're
wondering.
curious. We're your friends, your coworkers. We want to know more about you because we care.
That is not
Just
how
the
it
type
goes
of
when
people
we're
we
not-
are.
They always tell me to shut up.
I
That's actually not true at all.
was going to say for legal purposes that is not true.
That's actually really not true. But so my senior year, I needed one class to graduate, but I needed to be a full-time student to stay on my parents' insurance, as one does.
Yes.
And so I took a bunch of just kind of fun classes. So I took organic gardening with Dr. James Brown.
Nice.
That was always a good
Was it at the
time.
community garden or is it somewhere else?
No, it was in Comer.
Oh.
Yeah, we didn't actually do any gardening.
Oh.
We just learned about the concept.
Love that.
Theory of gardening.
So I took organic gardening. I took senior transition, which was a great class that career services taught here,
that's
and
awesome.
probably still teach. It's all about like how to make a resume, how to do a cover letter, practice job interviews. We had to research different cities we might want to live in and do presentations on them. It was a class that he said on the first day, as long as you show up and do the work, you're going to get an A. But like great life skills. We learned about 401ks and IRAs.
That's amazing.
I probably should have taken that version of it. As an art major, you also took that, but it was geared towards like art specific.
This is just one of those things I think Auburn does, like the career services office at Auburn has
provides.
so many great services.
They really do.
You can get all of those services without being in
Sponsored
that
by Career
class.
Services.
Right.
Truly.
We'll take any sponsorship on this show.
That you're not yet a sponsor, but just think of the opportunity.
This could be you. But I mean, you don't even have to be in that class to get those services. Any student can send their resume in and do practice interviews.
Yeah.
But this class was a targeted time to do that.
Very cool.
And I think I forgot the rest of the question. No, so the other
you're
class I
crushing it.
took,
Yeah.
the other class I took was Cajun dancing, and we learned. And I feel like you knew that.
Did.
I don't know how you knew that.
You
but
know, we'll
knew
talk
We
that.
do
about
our
later.
research, Billy, because we take this seriously.
Okay, that was a surprisingly fun class.
Really?
It looked fun from the news story you did.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you found that.
We
Oh,
did.
Yes.
Deep
Yes,
in the
we did.
Awesome.
archives.
I was going to show that staff yesterday, but forgot.
I know.
Oh,
So
darn.
next
Missed
week.
opportunity. Yes.
Oh,
Just
we're
wait.
showing
Insert
it.
clip
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember that. I think I remember that story because I think I'm in it at the end.
You are.
You are.
Oh, okay.
It's great execution.
Thank you. But it was a fun class. We learned like waltz, zydeco, polka, Cajun jig.
Do you still know how to do these dances?
Yeah.
Prove it.
Right now. Just kidding.
Prove it right now. I tried to get you to do a cartwheel on your show, so I had that coming. But no, unfortunately, you have to have a partner.
It's like there's just enough space.
There is. You know what? There's actually not enough space
So
in here.
University Program Council does open mic nights throughout the year, and I really think you should sign up and just showcase this talent that you
Probably
have.
I should.
I really think you should.
I don't want to take the attention away from the students, though.
We'll just have you at the end. It's fine.
But when everyone leaves.
Intermission.
But no,
Yeah.
but it's nice because I have academic proof that I'm a good dancer.
You could be the MC.
I got
and
an
then-
A.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right.
Congratulations.
I'm proud of you.
He did say somewhere in the story that it was
An easy C class.
an easy C class.
You know why I remember that? As soon as I turned the camera off after interviewing, he goes, "It's an easy A class." I just didn't want to say that on TV. I actually still have, and maybe I should regret saying this, but it's only on VHS, so I think I'm safe to say it. I actually have a recording of the final recital that we do at the end of the semester.
I just so happen to have a DVD VHS combo player at home.
Excellent.
At some point, I will bring it. And it was a whole routine. We had to do a whole routine. I even invented a move. I named it the Ferris wheel. I go back to that well a lot. If you
So
can't
this has
tell.
been a really
Are
a
you
brand real long in the
related to
making.
the Ferris wheel makers?
Yes, my ancestors invented the Ferris wheel.
Like really?
Yes.
Don't lie to me.
Wait,
No, the person who invented the Ferris wheel is named George something Gale Ferris.
he hesitated.
I can't remember the middle name.
Oh, or he's making it up.
You can Google it right now if you want. Google who invented the Ferris wheel. It's George something Gale Ferris. I think it might be William, which is embarrassing if I miss that part of the name because that's
Your
my name.
namesake.
But by the way, great hosting that you're both looking it up and not talking at the same
Yep.
time. This
You're
is
great. This is your show.
A
You
plus.
are carrying the conversation.
George Washington Gale Ferris Jr.,
See, I told you.
an American engineer.
See,
Did he manage to insult us while also carrying the conversation at the
Yes,
same time?
because that's why he's so good at this.
That's why you're the host, and we're just here.
I almost left your name in like, "Hi everybody, I'm Billy Ferris."
that actually would have been funny. That would have been funny.
we can edit it in. I can try.
We can. Oh, are y'all editing this?
I can edit a video, but I think you're going to do a great job.
Yeah, we believe in you. So, keeping the conversation moving forward, what would you do differently in college if you knew then what you know now? Being so wise.
He would be on time to class.
Yes. Or would he? Because it changed the course of history.
Honestly, that was probably the best decision I ever made.
Okay, great.
Because, seriously,
Yeah.
which I don't do very often, seriously, everything I've done since college, I can draw a straight line back to what I did at student media.
That's awesome.
So, everything I've done, I have been able to do because of that. So, I probably wouldn't change that. I missed something in a class I don't remember.
Syllabus.
So,
What was syllabus day?
Syllabus day, yeah.
Go to class, by the way. Just go to class.
Go to class.
Go to class.
Go to
Dot
class.
involvement opportunities will be there after class.
Go to
Go
class.
to class.
Go to class.
And also on A Involve.
Don't
That is sponsored.
do as I say, not as I do, is what I'm saying. But no, what would I do differently? I probably would have tried a few different involvement opportunities that stretch me beyond media,
Okay.
just to broaden my horizons a little bit. I would have probably studied abroad
Same.
because I did not
Same.
do that. And probably wouldn't have taken things quite as seriously as I did. I was a much more serious person when I was in college than I am now, believe it or not. Yeah.
After
I was
watching
very
that
much-
news story, I can kind of believe
I
it.
was
Yeah.
very much in my apartment. I was very much the dad of the apartment.
Oh, I could see that.
I was the one who did the cleaning and the hey, wake up! You have class in 20 minutes. I was
Don't
that
be late.
person. Yeah,
That's good to be that friend. Your
Yeah.
friends needed that.
yeah.
Yes.
But it would I would have probably taken things a little bit less seriously when I was in
Okay.
college.
Okay. Any
A
orgs?
mistake I have since corrected.
Course correct.
Yeah.
Are there any orgs that you can think of, whether they exist now or not, that you would have wanted to get involved in, or just generally would have wanted to get involved in?
I think
different
just
ones?
generally, I think a lot of those one-time things that everyone does, there were probably less organizations then because we're just kind of constantly growing.
Yeah.
But Eagle Eye, this is fun. So I know, Dana, you're the UPC advisor. Eagle Eye was actually my freshman through junior year. Eagle Eye was actually in UPC.
No way.
We were not our own student activity organization until my senior year.
Wow.
Wow.
We were a line item on UPC's budget.
Interesting.
We were
That is
much
wild.
smaller. We were much, much smaller. One time they went over budget on their concert, so we didn't have a budget that year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
That was fun. I mean, the concert was
I'm
cool.
slightly embarrassed to say this. I never went to a UPC concert when I was in school.
I remember who the concert was. It was Diamond Rio, the country band. And I remember that they did not return interview requests.
Awkward.
Because Gavin DeGraw came here the year after that.
Yeah.
And it was Gavin DeGraw, Sister Hazel, and one other. But they gave us interviews. Like, we have an interview of Gavin DeGraw and Sister Hazel right before Gavin DeGraw really blew up. He was kind of new.
Yeah.
But I remember we did it in the president's house. And he, like, sat down at a piano and did Rocket Man by Elton John, just, like, privately for us. It was really cool.
That's so cool.
That was one of my favorite college experiences.
Do you still have the footage somewhere of that? You think?
It's somewhere. We didn't get footage of Rocket Man.
Okay.
He just
He
said,
probably
like, he's like,
can't.
I don't have rights to this. I don't
Yeah.
do this. He's like, but if y'all just want to see something, and we're like, okay,
Wow.
private
You don't
concert,
say
sure.
no.
You don't say
Yeah.
no.
But the interview is on somebody's YouTube channel that I went
Okay.
to school with.
We'll have to.
Apparently, he checked, so it's not on mine. I don't remember putting the
You
Cajun
have a YouTube?
one up. Well, yeah, found the Cajun. Okay. This is not good for me, is it?
So you graduated from Auburn, right?
I did.
Awesome. Where'd you go from?
I now understand how accusatory that question sounds when I ask it, too. I do say my favorite joke is when people see my master's in my office, I say, yeah, Photoshop's a great tool.
Learned
But,
it.
but no, yes, I graduated from Auburn.
Where'd you go?
I worked for the Auburn Network, which was called ISP Sports at the time. They had 57 different Auburn networks.
Oh,
So
wow.
I covered Auburn, Wake Forest, UTEP, and Troy. So I would go once a season for football and basketball to the other three schools and just do seasons worth of interviews.
Wow.
And then do all the editing for their games and shows from Auburn. And then I would just go do the Auburn stuff week by week. So I did that for 2 years. We did everything from covering football, baseball, basketball, soccer, softball. Gymnastics was my favorite one to cover, which I think is probably unexpected. But it was
so exciting, though.
well, it was
Especially Auburn gymnastics.
Well, it was inside, so it was even lighting. There was no weather to worry about, and it was so different from everything else you cover because everything else is ball moving around.
Gotcha, yeah.
And this was just so different. So the footage was always fun to get because it was much, much different. And we were pretty good then. I think we're still pretty good at gymnastics.
Yeah.
We have someone who's going to be in the Olympics
Olympics.
coming to our gymnastics team.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. But that was my favorite one to cover because it was so different than everything else. And then in the off season, in the summer, we would do full length DVDs. So I wrote this, and this is a story. I'm getting us sidetracked, but that's kind of what I do.
It's all right. We know which question's next. Keep going.
Okay. You don't have to turn the page or anything.
Oh,
Okay.
eventually.
But the full length DVD I did in the summer that I was there was Running Back AU, is a history of Auburn running backs.
That's
and
cool.
my favorite part of that, we did not have in the budget to go travel to interview any running backs, so there's not a single interview of a running back in the DVD that went an hour and a half.
Wow.
So I don't necessarily suggest watching it.
Is it just straight sports footage?
It's interviews with like athletic department employees and fans, and we had to get pretty creative with
Yeah.
that. But one very cool thing for me is I co-wrote that with Rod Bramblett, who was the play-by-play person who unfortunately passed away in a car accident. So that's a very cool memory to have now that I worked with him on that and co-wrote that DVD with him. But my favorite part of this is years later when I was teaching public speaking, a student used it as a source in their speech about Auburn football, but they misquoted it.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
And then argued with me
Oh,
Did they not
about but
realize?
if the DVD says this is what they said, then I shouldn't get counted off for it. So I said, okay, go back and watch the DVD again. If it says that, not only will I give you the points back, I will give you 110 on this speech.
Oh, wow.
Because
Yeah.
I clearly knew what the DVD said. And I said, but do me a favor, watch all the way to the credits and see if you notice anything. I wish I could mimic his face the next time I saw him and asked him if he checked it. Admittedly, bad luck to misquote something to
Your
the
own
person who wrote
professor,
it.
yeah.
But that's
Oh,
my favorite thing about that DVD.
That's awesome.
So I worked at the Auburn Network, then came to grad school at Auburn, and then have been in the education side of things ever since.
Very cool. Am I allowed to ask this
Yeah,
question?
sorry.
Okay.
I got excited.
She did get excited. But you know,
I think it's because I'm here with the screens.
yes.
So
She has false sense of authority right now.
Now you know why I'm always looking all over the place.
yeah, I haven't looked at this screen once.
It's
over
okay.
here.
I've been checking it because I can't help it.
I know. That's why I'm happy.
That's why he's
He's still working.
I can't
even
turn it
working
off.
while he's. So that's timely. So what's something you like to spend your time away from work doing?
So many things.
Creating podcasts.
Yes.
That's time at work. I did do a podcast that was not work for several years, but I don't do that one anymore because we ran out of topics. But it was about TV and media, and we would talk about like the screenwriting process, or so like how a sitcom and comedy is structured. So it's not just punchline joke; it's how the characters are set up and all that. Then we would talk about framing in the media in one episode, but then eventually you just kind of run out of those topics. But borrow most of this format from that show. But I love to golf. That is my ultimate stress relief activity because I get stressed about golf, but about nothing else while golfing.
What's your handicap?
My handicap is a 19.
I don't know what that means.
Then great
You
question.
sounded so confident when you asked.
I know what
It means I shoot.
a handicap is. Like I know that it's a
means-
thing, but I don't know what it means.
It's how much you shoot over what the course should be, right?
Yes, over par. But depending on
I
the
worked at a golf course once.
but depending on the difficulty of the course, it can be
Yeah.
different. What that basically means in your terms is I'm going to shoot anywhere from an 85 to a 95 when I play.
Oh, okay.
Sounds
so, like,
great. You know, that's a B.
That's
It's an A
You
in
know,
education.
in
world.
Dana's mind. I'm working towards 100.
golf is the opposite direction.
Yeah.
I know, but I'm
do
just
know
saying,
that.
like,
Yeah.
as far as like your, I'm trying to help you out here. I'm just gonna stop.
But so I like to golf because that's a good stress relief. It's always good scenery, especially out at Grand National. Like the lake always looks pretty and it just looks nice. So if you really have a bad day, you still have nice things to look
Are
at.
you a member out there?
I'm not a member out there, and that's the thing. You don't have to be to play out there, so that's cool.
That's
Are
great.
you a member anywhere?
Not a member anywhere.
Just
no.
wondering.
I have friends.
My
that are
husband likes to
members at
golf. I was trying to
places.
pawn him off on you.
Yeah, he can still come play
Justin,
with me.
you can go play with Billy.
Come on.
Only if you listen to this.
Only if you listen to this.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I always want more people to golf with. That's always fun.
Yeah.
He's the problem is he's actually really good.
See, I play fast. That's usually all people care about. People tend to not care about how good people are.
It's the pace.
Because, like, let's say
Yeah.
he shoots par, which is a 72, and I shoot a 90. Over 18 holes, that isn't that different. It's the people who go super slow that no one wants to play with. It's all
Yes.
about keeping up the pace, at least for me.
You would keep him entertained, and as long as you keep pace, I think
I
you'd be okay
probably
with that.
don't talk as much golfing as you'd expect.
I mean, it is a quiet
Are
sport.
you
I'm
like
a lot-
super focused?
I'm a lot quieter than you
Okay.
think because I'm competitive with myself
Gotcha.
when
Yeah.
golfing. My friends know to trash talk me if I'm not doing well, and it'll make me do better.
You know.
So that works out.
we
But I like
friends
to
that know what you need.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I just need constant degrading. but I like that. I've started smoking meat. That's a fun thing to do. Like pulled pork and beef ribs and
We
brisket.
love
and that kind of
barbecue.
stuff. Yeah.
We do love barbecue.
So like to do that. Like to do a little bit of woodworking. Not like great at that, but my sister's better at that than me, but she comes out and helps me once a year and does something in my house. Cool. And then really like I'm always up for trying kind of like any hobby. That's always fun to do.
Okay. All right. Well, what would be your ideal next hobby to try? Or you just like feel it in the moment and go for it?
Always wanted to be really good at guitar, but I only know like 3 chords.
Hey, 3 chords make a song.
3 chords and the truth is what they say. So, but
Is that really true?
I think for like
3
country
chords
music.
yeah, country music, they call country music 3 chords and the truth.
Very cool.
But
I had no idea.
I would like to be like really good at that, but I have not taken the time.
One day.
One day. You know, it would have been a good time for that. The lockdown
Down.
during the pandemic. Yeah.
But you were still working.
Yeah.
I was still working.
Just from the homestead.
Remote
Yeah.
operations.
Yeah.
But at night when you weren't going anywhere, that, you know.
True.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. I said, what if I came out of the lockdown and was like, I go by William. Now the Billy you know no longer exists.
And you
just acted
and you just
super
talked like
serious
that.
the whole
Well,
time.
I only
Yeah.
met you in January, technically. So.
You met me before that.
I know, but like only really got to know you. I met you once in an interview.
I guess I'm not that memorable. That's fine.
That's not true.
Well,
All right.
so on to the next question. To avoid that awkwardness, how has your experience been during your time in student involvement?
It's been great. This is the end of my 6th year, which goes by fast. It's just Britt, who is also student media advisor, who is the next episode. That's called a preview. And we were talking about how we've been here the amount of time we were in college plus another half of a college experience and how much things have changed. So it's been really cool to see we built, well, I'll save that for when we're talking about getting professional. But it's been fun. It's a work with good people, present company excluded. And
I'm changing
No, but
all of the midterm questions.
Oh boy, no, but I work with good people. It's nice when you can come to work and have fun too.
We're good people. We're good people. Oh, maybe not.
No,
You're
you're
present company excluded.
I'll decide after midterms, but
That's fair.
No, but it says when you can come to work and enjoy the company of the people you're around, it makes it a lot better to come to work than if you're coming thinking like, put up with these people again, which is I imagine how you felt coming down here. But
It's
but so that makes it coming to work something that can be a positive in the day and not a negative in the day. So that's good.
That was very heartfelt. I appreciate that, Billy.
Every now and then.
Wasn't expecting that, so that felt really good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
You make it sound like I'm a monster when we're not recording.
No, he's a great human being. All right. Oh no, got differences of opinion over here, contradicting what I'm trying to help you out with. All right. Well, we will dig deeper into your current role a little later. That's also called a preview, right? Did I do that right?
It is.
Did I do it?
We're going to call it a tease because it's in the same episode.
Oh,
There's a lesson.
okay.
We're learning things.
I need to write this down. Good
It's a
thing I have a
tease.
pen.
Yes.
But we're gonna take a break and play a little game. Are you ready?
I feel
He's
like
so nervous right now.
I feel like they've been saying they're going to make it really hard.
That's not
and-
necessarily true. We talked about it this morning, and I said I think you're going to get at least 4.
But okay,
Yeah,
here's my question.
two more than me.
Do you need me to recap the standings, or are you going to do that?
You can recap them.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
you also know
the standings should be
review committees.
right.
Yeah.
The standing I'm very better than anyone. So you should be seeing the standings on your screen right now, and you will see that Alexis Davis is in first place with 6 points. You will see there is now a new controversy that the board is reviewing. So you see Hannah Gherkin floating between first and second place with either 6 points or 5 points because there is a discrepancy in one of the answers.
Oh, no.
And based on one of the questions about which came first, Austin being the state capital or Texas being a state, the Austin Public Library has a very different answer than random Google site that I found. So the review board is reviewing that. So she is either at 6, tied with Alexis, or at 5. And then you see Amy and Pearson at 5. There's an asterisk next to Amy's score.
When is that going to get,
So the review committee actually, I just heard, is ready to rule.
really?
Yes.
Are we allowed to share the news now?
Yes. So
Okay,
Amy
great.
is going to keep 5 points.
I'm so proud of you.
Unless I get worse than 5, and then the review committee might reconsider.
Where's the signing off on the results of this review?
No, so the review committee has awarded you the 5 points.
Oh, okay.
So that is resolved.
But her standing could change based on how you do here today. Is that what
I
you're saying?
feel like that could happen, yeah.
Okay.
The review committee tends to be a fan of me, so...
Is it a committee of one?
It is, but I cannot disclose who that person is.
Okay.
Okay. So
Fans of
now,
the show will figure it out.
so now
They are
Hannah
smart.
is in the review process.
Yes.
Okay. So do they only do one case at a time?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why they wrapped up the other one.
Gotcha.
Oh boy. So after that, because I know there's more further down, way further down in the rankings.
There is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. I feel like I'm about to be down there.
You know, we're going to find that out.
I want to know, I root for people to get them right. Are you rooting for or against me in this?
I don't know.
Okay.
Because
We're
I
conflicted,
tried
to be
really
completely
hard at
honest.
these questions. So
Yeah.
Billy follows a typical
Pattern.
with all the
Yeah.
questions. So I wanted to remain true to that
Okay.
to make it fair. And I
Same.
followed your pattern. But I also wanted to make it relatively difficult because Billy knows a lot of stuff.
He's really good at trivia.
Really good at trivia. You
Single-handedly put away Friends trivia.
That's true.
There are no questions about friends.
I'm not surprised.
It was strategic.
I'm not surprised. You understand I have previously looked up the answers to the questions I ask on this show. I don't just know them off the top of my head.
Well, yeah, but I also feel like when
Just in general
asked
life.
things, like you just know.
I don't know what it says about me that when you said the other week when we were talking about like, what are the topics for your trivia, you're like, I feel like you're not the kind of person who knows a little about things. I don't know what it says about me that I took that as an insult
you're
instead of a
smart.
compliment. I know.
It
I don't
means
know.
you're really smart.
I don't know
Yeah.
why I took that as an insult, and I don't know what that says about me.
Was it my delivery?
No, I think it just. I don't know.
Tone of voice,
Well, I did not mean it as
eye
an insult.
contact, lack of eye contact.
I don't know.
No, if anyone has
I just don't know
anything
what
about
it's-
this, like my facial expressions are all over
I
this.
just don't know what it
true.
says about me that my first instinct was no.
It was.
Okay.
Well, now's the time.
Do your worst.
Okay.
All right.
Dana is going to keep track
I
of
want to get all 10 right so bad.
That's why I brought the pen.
Okay,
brought the
good.
pen. So
I
Dana's
didn't
gonna
bring
keep-
it. It was already here, so it worked out.
Dana's going to keep track of
The
what you
audience never
have.
would have known. Okay.
We're going to go. It's 10 questions.
I have 2, I think, so far.
Did you already hear that sass coming from over there? Yeah.
did.
mhm. Okay, we'll
Okay.
keep that in mind. We'll give that to the review board. Okay, so question 1.
Oh, please. I can tell
New
you how,
review board.
I can tell you the review board rules right now.
Yeah. Okay, question number 1. You like sports.
Sure.
And you like baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. How many Braves players are in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, God. Can I get a clarification on whether you're talking about exclusively Atlanta Braves players?
How many Braves players are in the Hall of
So
Fame?
I cannot. Okay. So Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz.
Great era of pitching.
Yes.
Honestly,
Does managers count?
players.
Just players.
I'm going to...
Do we need to check
She
that?
is
I'm
going
gonna
to.
check.
She's
Okay.
going to check that. Keep counting, and we'll
Aaron,
help out the
Eddie
clarification.
Matthews. Did they go in as Braves or play for the Braves at any time?
Wow, you were asking a lot of questions of I don't know.
Because like Babe Ruth played for the Braves very briefly and he's in the Hall of Fame, but does he count as this answer? This is going to be so many things going to review, I can already tell.
Mm-hmm.
I will say I'm up to 8 that I know for sure. If managers count, 9 that I know for sure. I'm going to say 9.
She's clarifying before you lock in your answer.
Okay.
How confident do you feel about this right now?
Not confident.
If I tell you that you're, am I allowed to tell him
Sure.
that you're a little cold, a little
Oh.
frigid?
Oh.
So it's
Do we have a clarification from the co-host?
we are not going based off of the city of Atlanta.
Okay. Braves.
We're talking
history.
the franchise.
Okay, so it's a lot more than I'm going to know then. So I'm just going to throw out a wild guess. I would have been okay with Atlanta. I'll just throw out a wild guess and say like 25.
It's 32.
You're so close.
Okay. Yeah, I
was
definitely
trying-
wasn't
And
going to
it does include managers
Okay.
because good old Bobby Cox.
I should have known that you would have asked that many clarifying questions, but here we are. You're thorough,
we
so
are.
that's good.
Okay.
All right.
So 0 for 1.
Question number 2.
Just
yeah,
as you
there's an
designed
X
it.
next to that
Okay.
one.
Oh, good. Thank you for that.
It's not in red pen though, so
Well,
you're welcome.
We might have to review
The
that.
fact that you even knew like different types of questions to ask to like narrow that down.
Yeah.
I feel like you were close for Atlanta Braves, and we can go back and count later.
But I'm still not going to get that point.
You know, the review
No.
committee of Amy and Dana will consider it.
I don't know that that's a sanctioned committee.
So
It
well,
is.
If you want the point and you're right, you might
Okay.
say yes. So question number 2.
Mhm.
What is the national bird of Moldova?
I have no connection to Moldova.
I have no connection to Ireland.
Oh, Scotland.
Whatever.
This
Still no connection.
question may have been driven by some payback.
This is what I knew was going to happen. And now I'm confident I'm not going to get any questions right.
I think you will get at least one.
Moldova. I'm going to say the dodo bird.
The white stork.
That was close.
Real
it?
close.
They're both birds.
Is the national bird.
Well, that was the question.
I did research on like Massachusetts bird, Georgia bird, Italy, but I've already done Italy,
Yeah,
Ireland.
Jimmy, and I got it wrong.
I hit so many different places that you might connect to me, and then you did that.
Well, you connected everybody else but me. So
You were the pilot episode. You have to experiment.
you're a special issue.
Ooh.
What I hear is I'm special.
I don't know what to call it. And like if it's like a magazine, it's like a special issue, right? What is it
Yeah,
called in the
special
video?
edition.
Special
Oh,
edition.
right?
Special. What's the podcast version of that?
I'm still just hearing that I'm special.
Okay, great.
Oh, okay.
Awesome.
Well,
Question
you
number
know,
3.
yeah.
So you are a big fan of barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
and more specifically, Texas barbecue.
Yeah.
Which month is National Barbecue Month?
For those of us just listening and not able to watch,
I had a feeling you were going to do these
he's very
questions
stressed.
to me. I knew you were going to set me up to not get anything right.
Still think that there's several coming up that you could
Well,
get.
I just love that you specify you like Texas barbecue. Now I'm going to ask you something that has nothing to do with that.
Barbecue.
So why specify what kind I like?
I don't know.
We're trying to be good friends.
I was
Billy.
so ready. I was so
Intentional
ready.
in how we listen to you when you speak.
I was very
a lot.
The kind of wood that they predominantly use is post oak. I thought you were going to something like that when you said Texas barbecue, but nope.
Oh no! In my research, they said that there's 4 different types of Texas barbecue,
Yeah, there are.
Really?
and it's like region based.
Central Texas is what I like the best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why?
And yes, the style of smoker, the kind of wood they use.
So
and the
because there
salt
were
and pepper-based rub.
4, and I didn't think that we had the conversation of like specifically
Yeah.
which region, I couldn't ask about a region.
Yeah, you still threw that fact in just so I
Yeah.
thought I was going to get something I
Well,
would know.
I'm going to put it out there.
Yes.
I wrote the question down first and then changed it midway, but liked that, so I kept it.
To give
What
it
month
context.
is National Barbecue Month?
There are 12.
Okay, what?
options.
Oh,
There
thank you
are.
for that hint. I give better hints than that. So I'll say you're not going to give me any hints, are you, on any question?
No, I will.
I mean, just
You have
So-
a couple of lifelines.
I feel like it would be when, like, the barbecue fest is in Austin is probably when the barbecue month would be.
Okay.
And but that makes no sense to me because I think they do that in the fall, and I would think it would be a summer month. I
literally just had to clear my throat.
You
I'm
both
sorry.
reacted when I said that, but I don't know which way you were reacting. I don't feel good about it, but I'm going to say September,
I'm sorry, but you were incorrect.
It's May.
May.
Not
I
quite
would've thought
summer,
it-
but not quite fall.
I thought a long way from fall.
It depends on where you live.
True. I thought that was weird. I thought it'd be like a summer month too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm sorry.
So
You're not. No, you're not.
I
question
genuinely am.
You're not.
question number 4.
Uh-huh.
The show
Mhm.
Boy Meets World.
Okay. Not
Follows-
a show I mentioned to you, but okay.
Yes, it is.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you said you watched it.
Okay.
It's
So-
on our notes.
It
Not
is
what
on
I
my
said I knew
notes.
the best, but okay.
Oh,
You
that
s-
was not part
that
of
was
the
not-
criteria.
Of course it was.
So the show Boy Meets World follows the life of Corey Matthews.
Mm-hmm.
What is Corey's full name? And you can earn partial.
Okay, his first
Yes.
full name is Cornelius.
That's correct.
I don't know the middle name.
But do you know the last name? I'm kidding. Sorry.
Cornelius.
Starts with an A.
I wanted to say Alan because that's his dad's name. So I don't think that's right, but Cornelius Allen Matthews.
Alexander.
Alexander. So close.
So how are we scoring?
I'm going to give him a 0.5 for Cornelius.
Okay.
Okay.
A 0.5. Okay.
I thought that was interesting when I looked.
That's
found
fair.
it.
Yeah,
So-
I had watched it
Okay.
all the way through.
I can
as a
tell you
kid
Michael
and-
Scott's full name, Michael Gary Scott. Is that worth a point? Okay.
No, but
There are
we're
also
really
no
proud of
questions
you
about
for
The
knowing
Office.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
On.
Huh?
There are also no questions about The Office.
Why am I surprised?
This.
I even tried to bait you into an Office question by saying that you wouldn't be able to stump me about The Office.
I
I
know.
thought that would bait you into asking one about it.
Never.
No, wasn't even on the radar. Sorry.
Yeah.
Question 5.
Mm-hmm.
What year did the Jewel Collins Smith Museum open on Auburn's campus?
The Student Center opened in 2008.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jewel Collins Smith Museum. I know it was there my senior year. But I don't think it was there that much before that. I'm going to say 2004.
2003.
Oh, so close.
So close. Did you ever get stuck in the basement?
I did get stuck in the basement. Yeah.
That's the reason why I asked the question.
They did not have a sign that said that.
No. So
Still at 0.5.
I will say this. So
Awesome.
now moving into questions that I feel like this is the one.
So you destroy my confidence and then ask ones I might get right.
Yes.
Okay.
This is the one
Bring
that
you
I'm
up when you're
that
done.
I'm-
Yes.
earlier today when I saw Billy walking
Okay.
into the office this morning. I told him that there is one question that I think he's going to get correct, but others in the office do
I would
not.
like to know who thinks I'm going to get it wrong. I want names.
Okay,
Okay.
let me defend myself.
Okay.
I only think this because I also watched it. I think about as much, if not more, than you did
Okay.
or do. And I did not know this answer.
Okay.
I think you're going to get this.
Okay.
Just because of the podcast in which you referenced earlier and what you talk about
Okay.
in the podcast. On Psych,
Okay.
which early episode was remade in the final season? This is a multiple.
Cloudy with a Chance of Murder.
Didn't even need the multiple choice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
How's that taste?
based off your podcast, why is this significant? Off your first podcast, do you know why it's significant? Like, on why?
Why did they remake it?
Yeah.
They wanted to remake an episode. They felt like they could do better than the first attempt.
What? And it was also the first time in TV history that somebody had
Remade their own
episode.
Yeah. And they constantly made fun of remakes in the episode. It was great.
Another reason why Psych is just iconic and severely, like, just underrated.
Sean Spencer is a little bit my hero.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
I started watching Psych because people that didn't know each other kept asking me if I watched it
Yeah.
because they said I was so much like Sean Spencer. And I started watching Psych to figure out if that was a compliment or an insult. Having watched every episode probably twice, I still cannot tell you if that's a compliment or an insult.
He's just such a complicated character.
He is.
This is what is shocking to me, and the reason why I say that you know a lot about things that, like, you enjoy.
Yeah.
You said you watched probably each episode, the season through, twice.
I probably have seen every episode of Psych twice, yeah.
So the fact that you even got the name without even me needing me to tell you the name of the episode.
Is that worth 2 points?
No.
Still just one.
So 1.5.
Yes.
Correct.
Awesome.
But it's better than 0.
I wanted that one.
And
I like to prove doubters wrong. Taylor Swift said it right. Haters gonna hate.
She did say that.
Always right.
All right. Question 7.
Okay.
Who's older, Big Al or Obby?
Who's older?
And if you want some clarity, I will answer clarity questions on this one.
So are we doing first appearance?
First
for both?
appearance.
Okay. I'm gonna say Obby's older.
Obby is older.
Yes.
It's very close.
So close.
So
We had to do some triple
I
fact checking.
figured as much.
technically on both of them, 79, right? Is the year.
Mm-hmm.
But Big
Wow,
Al's
real close.
so
They're
1979.
making it real hard.
They're both saying that, like, 1979 was the year that they were made. But technically, Big Al's first appearance was until 1980, but it was January 1st.
So I'm
That's when they
hearing
played the
is
Sugar Bowl.
2.5. So I'm ahead of certain people in this room.
That may be true.
Wow.
Wow.
That may be
Yep.
true.
It's true and it hurts.
All right.
Good.
Question number 8.
Okay.
You said you like golf. You said that that was a really enjoyable thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
So from 1943 through 1945, the Masters tournament was not held due to World War II.
Okay.
In order to help with the war efforts, what 2 things were raised or grown on Augusta National Grounds? You can get a half point for getting one of them.
What was grown on their ground?
Raised or grown on the Augusta National Grounds.
Raised makes me think it's an animal. Which everyone else watching is like, no kidding, dude. But
Sometimes you just have to state the obvious.
but I feel like I just figured it out. I'm going to say, so I have 2 guesses here, basically.
Yes.
And each is worth a half a point,
Yes.
is what you're saying.
Yes.
Or a full point, probably, when we get to this to review.
He's so confident this is going to get to review.
Well, if we're being, I mean, I can kind of put it to review.
You heard it here first.
I'm about to be in first place. But I'm going to say raised or grown. Will you?
Do you need clarification?
No. I feel like one is going to be grown and one is going to be raised.
He doesn't like the way in which I worded my answer or my question.
If you'd like to word the answer, I'll evaluate you on it. No? Okay.
He was trying to be tricky there. I caught that.
Going to say, I don't know why I'm thinking this, but horses is one answer.
Okay.
It's not right. And you would have reacted better if I was right. But I already said it as an answer, so I can't go back. And horses and cotton. I don't know how that would help with the war.
Both are incorrect.
Not even
Turkey and cattle.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like that you asked me a question about golf that had nothing to do with golf.
I thought it was a very interesting fact about Augusta National.
It is, but again, just like the barbecue question, very misleading.
I
the way
will
you
take
asked it.
credit for this one, so the blame is completely on me because we were like, what could we ask Billy about golf or specifically the Masters because, Georgia,
This
Atlanta.
question replaced the Boston question. about which was the first university or school.
Harvard.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
worth a
that
point. You asked me and I answered it. So now I'm at 3.5.
But we just felt like, it was too easy.
Okay, next question.
Okay, question number 9. So this was something that you told us off the podcast, but
Okay.
Bringing
so
it
your
in.
first job was at Wendy's.
Mhm.
How much did a Frosty cost when it opened in 1969? I feel like this would be something they would tell you at orientation.
Yeah, I would hope.
I don't think they did. Well,
Well, they should know. Wendy's,
if
if
they
you're
did,
listening.
I clearly didn't remember. I'll say 5 cents.
35.
Oh,
You're only 30 cents off. Some quick math for you
Yep.
there.
yep.
Also incorrect. I'm so sorry.
That was hard. You're not asking easy questions.
We just believe in your
I
intelligence.
do really
More
think-
than you should have.
All right. In question number 10. So at the end of every show, you celebrate with a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
After every show,
I don't know if celebrate's the right word, but yeah.
it's a celebratory Diet Coke.
Mark
Okay.
the end
Okay.
of one.
You have it at the end because,
Sure.
yeah, you just do. It's a fact. So which of the following has not been one of the drink slogans? This is a multiple choice.
Cloudy with a chance of murder.
Would you like me to actually read them this time?
Well, since I can't tell you what hasn't been. Actually, if I just say something that isn't a slogan.
Out of the, if it's,
It has to be
Diet Coke. Why not? That's right.
A.
That is right.
So number 1,
Okay.
just for the taste of it,
Okay.
as good as the real thing, light it up, and stay extraordinary. Just for the taste of it, as good as the real
Okay.
thing,
Just for the taste of it, I'm pretty sure was.
light it up, and stay extraordinary.
I think Stay Extraordinary was. It was Light It Up or what?
As good as the real thing.
I feel like that would have been the first one because they were trying to get you to believe it, even though it tastes entirely different. I'm going to say Light It Up.
Light it up is incorrect. It was a slogan in 2006.
What was it?
As good as the real thing.
Really?
The first one.
That was a good misdirect.
The first.
Compliments.
I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
It was at C, like it was my C option, and because Hannah in her last episode said "see your way out," I strategically moved it.
Even though I said I wouldn't follow that advice.
Yeah, I still moved it because I didn't know
Solid
how
logic.
this was going to go, and just,
I thought
you
Light It.
remember everything.
I thought apparently I don't. I thought
sorry.
Light It Up was the one that was most likely that you would think of. That's why I guessed it.
as good as the real thing. So just for the taste of it was the first one, and it
Ish.
was in 1982.
Okay.
Light It Up 2006, and Stay Extraordinary was 2010. That's 10 questions, Dana.
Oof. Do you need a minute to process?
I got a 1.5 more than you, is what you're saying?
What's the final score?
Wow.
What's the final score?
Wow.
Does the review committee have to
Wow.
review something?
Several, yeah.
0 of those need to be reviewed. So he got 0.5 points on question 4.
So that was the Boy Meets World one.
You are
Correct.
loving this.
We might take that away.
Nope.
I'm not
review
feeling
board said
generous
it's in.
today. He also got question 6 correct.
And question 6 was psych. Mm-hmm. Very well.
I would have been very disappointed.
You
with
pulled a
myself if I missed
Pearson. You
psych.
just
Knew
not
it.
even needing the.
I would have been a
multiple
little
choice.
disappointed without getting psych. Yeah, that would have been. That's my
Yeah.
wheelhouse.
That's true. I should have more confidence in you in that one. That's
Really
that's
should
on me.
have.
Well, we all make mistakes.
I think I probably, if you said finish this quote, I probably could have done that from psych.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Wow.
So
And number 7, right?
Yes, and number 7. The rest were
So I got
incorrect.
3.5.
2.5.
I'm pretty sure it was 3.5.
2.5.
I am pretty sure it was 3.5.
Well, I don't
And-
know who taught you math, but
And after the review board's done, I could get probably as many as 7.
Well, it's 2.5.
Oh,
So
really glad that you're confident.
well, I'll be
In
checking.
that.
so
Yep.
Billy, are you being put into the official rankings?
Yes.
Okay, so here's my thing. Does that knock some people off the podium?
It doesn't knock anyone off the podium
Do I at least
because I didn't get to the top 3.
Do I at least get to stand near
I thought
the
you did.
podium?
I thought it was 6, 5, and then 2.
No, because you and Pearson
have 5.
both have 5, and Alexis has 6, and Hannah has either 5 or 6.
Yeah, so that would be spot number 1 and spot number 2, and so there's a third spot.
But if there's a tie for first, the next score down is third, not second.
I thought it was just
you have a third place trophy.
you know.
I said conveniently you have a third place trophy.
do have a
I'm
third
gonna
place
say
trophy.
this. I thought that like if the two of them tied, like they could say Alexis and Hannah have 6, they tie for 1st. They both get first. I was thinking people like with the same number, like the number 6 was 1.
They would be
The
both
number
tied for first.
5
You and Pearson with 5 are tied for third, not second.
because there's 2 people.
Because there's 2 people ahead of you.
Okay.
That is how
Is this like
scoring
written
works.
like in a Robert's Rule of Orders, but like for sports and
I mean, I feel like
shows
this is
and
pretty
things?
standard. Like if you watch a golf tournament, if there's a tie for first, the next person
I
is
guess
third,
that's
not
correct.
second.
Yeah.
Do I
Because
get
there's
a-
2 people ahead of them.
I can see that.
So do I get a participation ribbon? Is all I want to know because I got.
I have been known to make some certificates in Photoshop for people, so
You
we'll see what
do.
happens.
I have a pretty epic one hanging up in my office. Courtesy
that worth a
of
point?
You. No, just
No.
being a really great friend. Appreciate you.
Cool.
He only beat me by half of a point, and I really.
I still think I had 3.5 for some reason.
Do you want us to run through it again?
No. But when I edit this, if it turns out that's their case, though,
I took
Not much I
very
can do
thorough
about it.
notes with this pen that I
Okay.
borrowed that is yours.
Okay.
So thank you for that.
that's 2.5 more points than I thought I was going to get. I was pretty confident you were going to make it, so I couldn't get anything.
We're not.
I
that
researched.
awful.
I had like total times Bobby Cox had been ejected.
161.
Correct. How many touchdown passes Tom Brady had thrown? How many
I-
career wins Bill Belichick? I did so much research of like the fun facts for all of the interests I knew you knew I had, and you didn't hit any of them.
So I was going to say somewhere in the middle of the questions, be like, question number 6. So you are a big fan of the Patriots. Well, I'm not going to ask a question about them. I was going to go that way. But I didn't do that.
She
Because you
have
were
it in
already
draft.
so mad. It'd be like, you like Texas barbecue. What's the national barbecue month?
And you kept specifying, like you didn't clarify that Texas barbecue is my favorite style. A couple
Yeah,
days
you
ago.
said specifically Texas barbecue.
We're planting the
You were
seed.
misdirecting, so I would study the wrong things because you knew I was going to study.
I didn't know
That
you were going to
was
study.
You know, that was Amy's strategy. I will throw that at her.
I don't do that to people, but okay.
I'm going to say this, that you have said on the record that after my episode and after Dana and Alonso's,
My
that
tragic
you
defeat.
specifically make the questions easier. So we were trying to go at the original level
Yeah.
of which you asked things.
Of to
Because
which
you
we
asked
were held at the
Alonso
standard.
a question about Auburn baseball seats for a stadium he's never been in.
He had the opportunity.
He did. That is correct.
You've been in Jewel Collins.
Yeah.
Locked in, specifically.
I didn't build it. You try to create a fun thing for people at work to do, and this is how they treat you.
You know,
I really enjoyed this.
I did too. Still enjoying it.
Yeah.
Right.
'cause-
Speaking of, we still have a bit to get through.
yeah.
This
It's
is
my
gonna be-
turn.
It's gonna be a long episode.
Watching the clock. It's definitely the longest so far.
Oh no, we had to edit out midterms.
It never
I got
happened.
10 right. Oh, if I
did
edit out
not.
midterms, people won't know.
They'll know.
All right.
What if I stayed here after you left and it was like, oh, I've already forgotten what Augusta grew or raised.
It was
Turkeys
turkey
and
and cattle for those of you that also needed reminding.
He's going to sit here and he's going to sit in that spot and he's going to record him getting everything correct.
turkey and cattle.
But I don't know how you're going to edit our responses to it.
It'll just. Why are
It's
you?
just going to be a picture of me going,
Why are you acting like I got it wrong? I just said the right answer. Is that? Now I got all 10 right.
Goodness.
That's how you do that.
So moving on.
Yeah.
so after that unique
Just to let you
performance.
leave that performance in the past. Again, you got 2.5 out of 10 correct, just to make sure that we're getting that on the record several times.
I understand nothing.
So we want to dive
Jamming
into.
the camera.
Is he just trying to redirect again?
I'm trying to use all of his tips and tricks. And I've been talking to this camera a whole lot.
It's my turn.
It's your
Thank you. So we want to know a little bit more about you in a professional sense and what
Okay.
you do here. So we've got a set of 8 questions. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, perfect.
As a seasoned host, I might suggest editing some of those questions down for time.
Thank you for
Yeah,
that suggestion.
you're
We'll
welcome.
take it to the review board
Okay.
to be determined on what is determined there. First question.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
I am ready.
Okay.
I'm confident I can get these right.
I'm gonna say
I
this.
sure would hope so.
Don't read it verbatim because obviously I did not change one particular section of question 1.
Yeah, I caught that.
Okay, you got to read what it is now, too, then.
So
It says emerge.
So Billy sent us the layout, and I changed a lot of things. I obviously did not read question 1 all the way through because I didn't change emerge.
Well, good thing I read
Which
ahead.
Now I'm thinking that I haven't looked at questions 2 through 8 yet.
So we'll see what
Who
happens.
knows?
So I'm just going to need you to add some commentary while I continue to read through.
We love that.
Okay. Great.
Ask
So,
question 1 and then we'll go through it.
do I have your permission to ask the question now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. So as the coordinator for student media,
There it is.
you primarily advise.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just making this an interactive experience.
Okay. Eagle Eye, the Circle, and the Plainsman.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
At Auburn.
Mm-hmm. Nope, that's still part of Emerge's name. Keep going.
I know, but I just wanted to.
I may have done poorly in trivia, but you'll have a new respect for the way I host this podcast.
100%. Because we are thriving over here.
I was a communications major, and I just don't know what. I'm just really failing my my degree.
Right. So I advise Eagle Eye, the Circle, and Plainsman.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about what that is and what they do, please?
Sure.
Thank
So
you.
The Circle is a literary and arts magazine. So that is one that any student on campus, and it does have to be a student, can submit any kind of artistic work they've created to be included in the Circle. The staff does a blind review, so they don't know whose work they're reviewing to avoid any kind of bias. So it's not just taking all of the internal staff's pieces and putting them in the magazine. And then they do an issue in the fall and an issue in the spring. And it's filled with poetry, prose, graphic design, paintings, even music with a QR code that takes you to songs. One of the more recent additions they've done, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then in the summer, they've started doing a specialized mini zine, they call it, that focuses on an underrepresented group. So last summer, they did something called Marigolds, and it featured all the work of exclusively Black artists on campus. This summer, they are putting one together called Violets that is all about LGBTQ+.
Amazing.
So they do that. The Plainsman is our newspaper. They are primarily digital. That's a change we made this year to just better reflect industry trends. It was COVID probably moved that move up a little bit, but it wasn't because of COVID. It was just because we always try to stay on top of industry trends, and more people are coming to the newspaper online than they are in a
escalated the
traditional
timeline.
newspaper. It escalated the timeline quite a bit. But still, I think the right move, and our feedback we've gotten from people in the industry indicated that it's probably the right move for us to do. And then Eagle Eye is a TV station, so operate the way a local TV station would operate with news, sports, and entertainment.
Amazing. Which I just also found out used to be part of UPC. It still blows my mind.
Yep.
So I'm going to skip question 2 and 3 because I read ahead.
You don't want to know my leadership style.
We'll ask that at the end just in case we have time. What's been the biggest surprise or most unexpected part of the job so far? I know you've been here for a while, but just what keeps you on your toes still?
Just the different things students come to me about. When I took the job, I figured we would be talking about angles of stories and how to interview people and all the media stuff. The biggest surprise and probably my favorite part of the job is the non-media stuff they come for, the life advice or just needing that support system. And that's always different depending on the student and depending on the day. So that is one of the biggest surprises and one of my favorite parts of the job is just those connections you make with students, being whatever you need to be for each student. Because I think if you took 5 or 6 different students that I advise, they would all probably tell you I had a completely different advising style because I'm going to do whatever each student needs. Some of them need really tough love and harsh criticism, and some need more positive reinforcement, but each one's only going to grow with what they need. So that the surprise of figuring that out and the different stuff they come to me to talk about.
That's amazing. Qualities of a great advisor. All right. Well, okay, well. Just trying to give you that one, but fair. So you're so good at this that you answered question 5 already. Your favorite part of the job.
Favorite part of the job, yeah, it's working with the students. I would think anyone that does what we do is going to say that.
Would hope.
Because if you don't like working with students, you're in the wrong
Why are you
business.
here?
But something, since I answered that, I'll kind of just add on to that a little
Yeah.
bit. I feel very strongly that everyone that works at the university, whether they work directly with students or not, part of their job is setting an example for students to follow.
Absolutely.
And trying to take that very seriously. As you know, there are a lot of things I don't act overly serious about, but something I am always serious about is being an example for students to follow in professionalism, in work ethic, and just approaching each day with a sense of this is what we need to do. We can have fun doing it, but it cannot be at the expense of getting the job done.
Right.
So that's working with students and trying to pass that kind of stuff on to them is my favorite.
Teaches them a lot of great life qualities that they need to learn.
That's what we try.
Yeah. Next question. What was more challenging than you expected it to be?
More challenging than I expected it to be. And let's clarify that challenging does not mean negative. I would say that. But
That is correct.
so-
Challenging
that is
does not mean negative.
challenging
but-
does not mean negative.
it's more challenging when I say we, they hired 4 advisors all at the same time to come in and be full-time advisors for student media. Because
Really?
They did not have that in place before. They were part-time advisors. We were told in our interviews that there were needing to be a lot of changes. And they said it is going to be challenging. Every group has some pretty severe weaknesses. It was still a little more challenging than we expected it to be. And I say we as the team of advisors. There's 2 of us left, so 2 have gone on to other things. But just for an example, Weagle and Eagle Eye couldn't stay on the air for more than a couple hours at a time when we started because their technology was not in good shape. The Plainsman's budget situation wasn't great. Turning all of those things around was fun, but it was very challenging. Creating a new culture. The students always put in hard work, but the type of work had to change. And that was a little bit of a challenge in the beginning because they weren't used to advisors being there and guiding them more. We didn't take ownership from the students, but we focused their efforts more. And that was not easy to do because they were used to just being here without anyone overseeing them. But what we've done in the last 6 years is we've essentially ripped all 5 groups down. The yearbook and the radio station are the 2 that I didn't mention earlier because Britt is the primary advisor for those. And we'll talk about those next week, another preview. But we have essentially ripped all 5 of those down to the studs and completely rebuilt the organization. So in some ways, the Plainsman and the Glom are over 100 years old. In some ways, they're 6 years old. Eagle Eye and Weagle and the Circle, they're all 6 years old at this point because we pretty much rebuilt everyone. So that was challenging to rebuild all 5 of those and make sure we did it in a way that kept students bought in. Because what you can't do is just come in and say, you're not doing this anymore, you're doing that.
Yep.
So the first year, there were very minimal changes. Second year, a few more changes. The third year is when those bigger changes started because those students kind of always thought we were kind of always here by that point. So completely reimagining what all of these groups are was a pretty big challenge. And I'm not the most patient of people, so take the patience of waiting to get to where it needed to be for a few years was definitely a challenge.
So you've already named some things that you've accomplished over your 6 years here. But looking for the year ahead, what are you looking forward to accomplishing?
Looking forward to getting students back in the space. Every group, and this isn't exclusive to student media, but every group struggled to operate at full capacity last year because of COVID protocols. And there's a certain aspect of media that you can't do from home. You can cover stories, but thinking about how many stories there are to cover, there were less because everyone else was also home. And so that means things weren't happening as much. So we did as much as we could, but when they're virtual, the media isn't going to be there covering it because it's a virtual event. So getting back to in-person and then getting back to full operations instead of saying, this is how you're going to have to crew a show this year. We'll teach you how to do it the full way next year. So if we make up for the lost training time, that would be a success because there was a certain amount of hands-on training that could not happen when you're 6 feet away from someone.
Yeah, that would be tough.
Especially with cameras and with control room equipment and equipment that, Amy, you're sitting in front of right now. From 6 feet away, it's really hard to teach that well. We did that as well as we could, and we had more freshmen than I thought we would.
It's amazing.
Get involved and be proficient. But there's still more that they'll be able to grow this year. So we'll be successful if we kind of bridge that training gap and remember that we have essentially 2 freshman classes in terms of experience.
All right. So last question.
Okay.
What's your best advice to current students wanting to pursue a career in higher education?
Put in the work. Just put in the work. Don't do the minimum. I think in most groups there's a minimum. You have to do this much per week. That is never going to put you as the person that gets to the next step. You have to be the person who puts in the work. So I always tell people when they do internships, if they give you the option, be there as much as you can. Don't do it at the expense of your finances or your mental health or anything like that. But if they say you can be here 3 or 4 days, be there 4 days. If they say you can go home, but if you want to hang around and see this, then hang around and see this. Because those are the references that are going to be good. Those are the people they're going to want to hire. And that higher education, media, any area you look at, if you're going to do more than the minimum and be the person who outworks everyone, you're going to be the one that gets the opportunities. You don't necessarily have more talent than anyone else you meet. You don't have more skill than anyone else you meet necessarily, but you can outwork everyone you meet. And that's the one thing. You can control your attitude. You can control your work ethic. So positive attitude, strong work ethic.
Amazing. Great advice, I would say. All right. Well, now that we've known more the professional side of you through this part of the episode, we're going to jump into some words of wisdom.
Yeah, the final segment.
Okay.
What's the final segment, Billy?
Final segment is quote me on that.
That is correct.
And you can quote me on that.
So we're each going to give the viewers one of our favorite quotes. It can be meaningful, it can be funny, it can be thought-provoking, it can be all 3. So far, no one has done all 3. Is that correct, Billy?
That is correct, yes.
Perfect. It can be whatever you want.
Okay.
So I'll go first, give you a little bit of time to think about it. I have been in every episode but one. So earlier in the episode, I mentioned that I've seen a video of yours, right?
We did our
I
research.
did my research. It was your news story on Cajun dancing.
Yep.
Well, you have put that out on your Twitter. It lives on your Twitter.
Did I?
You did.
Didn't
Yes.
So,
know that. Didn't know that.
my quote today is, there's no greater feeling than hitting the snooze button and having no responsibilities for 9 minutes. Billy Ferris, January 15th, 2020 at 9:20 a.m. on your Twitter. Ferris thoughts.
I think that was probably a weekend.
It was a Wednesday.
I was probably off that day.
There's that.
I'm sure I was off that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're going to hope so.
Or it just popped into my head. So the reason I have a Twitter, I'm not huge.
It's
with social
new.
media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is your first tweet.
Yeah. So
I
the
went
reason I have
scrolled
it-
all the way down.
So I talked about the karaoke
Yeah.
rules. I was telling students that one day, as we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they said, you need to put that on Twitter. I said, I don't have a Twitter. And they said, you need a Twitter. I said, the world does not need to hear my thoughts. And they're like, it was the national championship game between Clemson and Alabama was that night. And they were like, you think Clemson's going to win? I said, yeah. They said, if Alabama wins, you have to get a Twitter.
Alabama
And
won.
if Clemson won, I think they each had to do like a story every day that week.
Oh, wow.
And publish.
Wow.
So I was trying to get them to work
High
harder.
stakes.
And then I got the game wrong. And so I got a Twitter. So probably the reason I tweeted that is they were probably in there saying, like, you haven't tweeted anything yet. So I was like, oh, I just throw up whatever pops into my head.
Well, it was very.
I stand by it, though.
It's a great
It
quote.
is a great quote.
So,
I would agree with it.
but I will say about 4 tweets up, you link to
Did not remember that.
a
You sure did.
reel of clips, and so there is. It's not your reel. It's an earlier version of Eagle Eye's reel, but you're the first 2 on that. So the first one is your Cajun dancing
Okay.
story, and then the
Great.
second one you're anchoring and you're leading into Aubie's, I believe, 2006 national championship win.
yes.
So, and then after that, there's several other people that are.
I remember someone named Derek Starr did that story. Do I get a trivia point for that?
No,
No.
I should have asked
Sorry.
that though.
You should have. I would have gotten it right.
Well,
You would.
now you're stuck at 2.5. Sorry.
Wow.
So
Cool.
you can quote me on that.
So you're quoting me. I like that.
I'm quoting you. Do I get? Too
I-
bad it's not, the jury's still not out on mine, because I feel like that would have weighted my.
Might have.
Yeah.
Might have.
Might have.
Dana,
Yes.
what do you got?
I have one. Just one specific quote.
Okay.
Just, So, great
His
things.
second tweet.
I actually thought about it.
That
I
would've
wrote
been
it down.
That would have been funny.
And then I second guessed myself.
It's okay.
And then I left it up in my office.
What can you do?
And, here we are. But this is a really great quote. Great things come from hard work and perseverance, not excuses. And Kobe Bryant is credited for saying that.
I like that. I can get behind that. You can quote her on that. Is my turn?
If you are ready, yes.
Okay, yes. I'm going to use my favorite quote from The Office, my favorite quote The Office have ever had. My favorite non-ridiculous quote The Office has is Andy Bernard in the finale says, "I wish there was a way to know you were in the good old days before you've actually left them." And I think that says so much about appreciating the moment you're in and taking the time to appreciate, whether that's the time you're in college and you're around all of your college friends and it's going to change when you graduate. Take that time to appreciate it while you can. Or a time where we are in a line of work where people come and go. So when you have a great group of people you're working with, take time to appreciate that and enjoy that while it lasts, because it won't last forever. So I love that quote.
I gave the weird look because I was like, isn't that a song lyric?
Is it?
I don't think it's exactly it, but
Something to the essence
something
of
to
that?
the essence of that. So
We'll have to find
That would be
out.
very
Yeah.
Andy Bernard in The Office to
If we
steal a song quote.
Yeah, that
would
is
be
such
very
an
him.
Andy
Okay.
move.
But if
That is
it
such an Andy
was,
move.
he would have sung it.
Yes, and
Okay.
he would have gotten the guitar out.
Yeah.
My thing is if we find this song, you have to sing it at karaoke the next time.
Okay.
I know this is like a really difficult thing for you
so
to
hard.
have to take on.
I'm really shy. So
doesn't like to talk.
doesn't like to talk.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, thanks for
As
sharing.
we look
your-
at what has to be a 2-hour episode.
I'm trying to sit here and think, Billy, do we need to cut this down? You're going to have some editing on this
Yeah.
one. I will say that.
I will say that I already did, but a great appreciation for your ability to like move the conversation along.
Thank you.
Because there was a couple times I have to admit on the other side of the mic, because I know what it's like to have a conversation with you, and it was like kind of out of the norm, and I was like, he's like cutting me off. Like I have more to say here. But it's because you're trying to pace it, and I really appreciate it, and that's why our episodes were what they needed to be, and ours is
This is
not.
nowhere close.
We'll just leave it what it is. It's not like YouTube has a limit.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
And there's 3 of us.
It's
so
high quality content.
Who doesn't want to hear the 3 of us talk all day?
Well,
No one in this
Like
room's
and
going to say no.
subscribe.
I mean, I would
Smash that
I would
like
say
button.
I would say no for myself because I don't like the sound of my voice recorded. So
I am one thing I actually am proud of with this podcast
Yeah.
is every episode until now has been within about a minute.
yeah,
I am proud. I think some
Yeah.
people wonder, like,
that's impressive.
you talked a lot more in this episode.
We did
You
say this
talked
was a
less than
special edition.
that. We did say
we
it was
did say it was a special edition, which is usually like goes with that it's a longer amount of time, right?
Sure.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm just
you have
making
two-
up the
I knew
rules
I
as
had
go.
a feeling that this was either going to be a much shorter or much longer. Not that I didn't believe in your ability.
I don't think either one says a lack of ability.
No, I just thought I was like, I think this is going to be a lot shorter and a lot longer because
Yeah.
there is some.
Two very unexperienced podcast hosts running this right now.
I took public speaking once.
I did not.
Okay.
So
So I think you should get a credit for it now.
yeah,
Thank
This
you.
is very
Yeah.
public.
yeah, and you
Here
are
we go.
Jim in
you
the
are
camera
speaking.
again.
I'm killing it. I want a counter in the corner of how many times I jim the camera. I'm going to guess it's like 24.
If you get exactly 24, I will add a point to your trivia.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I am not
Can you
looking at the
sign that?
camera anymore.
Later.
I said it. I mean, I said it. It's
Okay.
in here. I
You're
can
not
edit
gonna
this out
edit.
if I don't want to do that.
I was literally just about to say
I
that.
cannot look at the camera one more time. I think it's more than 24. It's probably going to be like the 30s. But we'll see.
All right.
Billy, thanks for
Yes.
joining us today. We
Appreciate
have
it.
really enjoyed getting to know a little bit more about you, experiencing podcast hosting for the first time. Thank you for that opportunity. We have really enjoyed it. Until next time, I'm Amy Shugart.
And I'm Dana Gamulia, and this has been Access Involvement, where discovering your path is much easier than hosting a podcast.
Nice.
Truth.